course registration meeting for everybody who's coming in for the MS in Supply Chain Management program and MS in Management Science programs. So I'm really excited to do today's meeting because this really is the very beginning of your UTD journey. It's always really fun to get on this call and see everybody, and then I see you in person in just less than 5 months in August when you get here to campus. And so I'm really excited to be able to do this today with everybody. I have 2 hours blocked on my calendar for this call. So I am here to answer your questions. If there are things that come up along the way that you want to ask about, feel free to drop that in the chat. And I'm happy to stick around and answer questions and chat with you as long as I need to, because I want to make sure that you're, getting off on the right foot for your UTD journey here. So if you could, actually, here, let me go ahead and advance to the next slide because I had a few housekeeping things. But first, let me just tell you a little bit about me. If you haven't emailed with me yet, although I think I've emailed with everybody probably at least once at this point, my name is John Fierst, and I am the program director for our 2 programs. Just a little bit about me. I'm actually staff and not faculty. So I don't teach or do research. I do not have a PhD, but I do serve as the instructor of the internship courses whenever it's time for you guys to go off and do an internship. I am originally from Indiana, grew up in the Midwest. I've been in Texas 8 years now. It's actually going to be 9 years this summer. And I do love to travel. I've been to 40 of the 50 states, so I'm always happy to talk about travel if you want some suggestions on where to go during your breaks. And I'm always here to help with any kind of program-related questions, internship questions, academic success issues. You can always come to me as your first point of contact when you have questions and don't know who to go to. And if I'm not the person to answer your question, I will make sure that I direct you to whoever at UTD is the right person to answer your question. You can also call me John. Don't feel like you need to call me Professor Fierst or Mr. Fierst or anything like that. Just call me John. That is totally fine. And all of us here in the Operations Management Department of JSOM are really excited to have you join the UTD community. I think JSOM is just really a cool place to be a graduate student, and you really get the full experience when you're here. So we're really, really excited to have you join us this summer or this fall. So we have a couple of housekeeping things to do. Number one, I'm hoping that everybody saw in the invitation email, I had that little action required. Please log into your UTD email here to accept this calendar invitation. If you are not able to log into your UTD email, please drop something in the chat so that I can get you to our IT office so that they can help you log into your UTD email. Because after today, in order to answer your advising questions and your registration questions, we'll want to do that through your UTD email. So if you're having issues getting into UTD email, let me know, and I will direct you appropriately, because we definitely want you to get in the habit now of checking your UTD email and logging in and making sure that you read all of those messages that are coming to your UTD email. So that's item number one. Item number two is to give your program a follow on LinkedIn if you haven't already. I am awfully close to 1,000 followers on the supply chain page. So if you're a supply chain student, please click the link that I just dropped in the chat. And if you are a management science student, your link is coming up right here. Oops. Yeah, there we go. And really, following the pages is a great way to start to get to know the program and some of the students that you're going to meet in the program. I do some student spotlights. You'll, be meeting some of these people when you get here in August. We also have some students who are going to be graduating and joining our alumni network. And so it's a great way to start to make connections with folks and really just see what's happening with the program between now and the time that you get here. I've also tried to go through and add all of you guys on LinkedIn. So hopefully you got a LinkedIn connection request from me. And I'm happy to connect with all of you guys as well. I also occasionally post some things just from my point of view as a program director, things that I do with students and whatnot. So you're totally welcome to connect with me as well. And I've been trying to reach out to everybody on LinkedIn too. So those are kind of our first housekeeping items. So wrong, I see your question here in the chat. How can we register? Should we pay one semester tuition or 1 year at first? I'm going to cover all of that here in the next few slides. I'm going to go through, registration. That's the main topic of today's meeting. So, Shobit, no worries if you decline the meeting. No problem at all. You're here, so you're good. If you're not logged in with your UTD email on today's call, not a problem. But just from today forward, just make sure that you're using your UTD email for things. Okay, so another thing here to kind of kick us off on the right foot, the difference between your program director and the advising team. So I am actually not technically your academic advisor. If they say, hey, you need to talk to advising, that is our JSOM graduate advising team. And they are the team of academic advisors here in the school that can help with holds on your account, registering you into courses, helping you understand wait lists, GPA and graduation requirements, applying for graduation when it's time for you to get your degree. The advising team is kind of like the people that keep things moving, keep people administratively moving through their degree. Now, me as the program director, I'm here to consult with you if you have questions on like which electives should I take based on my interest in X field, right? Or maybe you're interested in, you have 2 internships and you're not sure which one to go with. Developing skills for your future career, right? I'm the person to kind of give you that guidance that's tailored to your specific situation and to your specific goals and interests. That's just kind of the difference between the advising team and me. Again, if you're not sure who to turn to, let me know. And if it's an advising question, I will add advising to the email and we'll get that sorted. So you're going to hear this multiple times today. Don't forget to read all the emails coming to your UTD email, because that is how UTD is going to be communicating with you now that you're an admitted student. Okay. Let's now shift gears and start talking about course planning. So Coursebook is your friend when it comes to planning your schedule. If you haven't yet been over to Coursebook yet, it's just coursebook.utdallas.edu, and I will drop that link here in the chat if you would like to just open it in another tab and bookmark it, because you'll use Coursebook every single semester that you're at UTD. So you'll use it now to start planning for your fall courses, and then you'll use it again in the fall to plan for your spring courses, and it's kind of the official class schedule. You can also see the class schedule in Orion. You can log into Orion and search for classes there as well. But Coursebook, I really like it because it just puts everything from our department onto a single page, and then you can view all those classes all in one page. So that's why I like Coursebook. I use it all the time. I actually don't really use Orion to look at classes. I'm always in Coursebook. So when you open Coursebook, our department's prefix is OPRE. So our department's name is Operations Management. OPRE actually comes from Operations Research, so OPRE, if you're curious why that's the way it is. So any OPRE classes, most of those are from our department. We do have some classes that are cross-listed, which means that they're shared between another department and ours. But for the most part, you're going to be looking at OPRE courses. Now, I want you to pay attention to those highlighted fields that you see here in the example on your screen. Those are the section numbers, and it's really important that you know what kind of course you're signing up for, because in JSOM, we have 3 different types of classes. We have a traditional course, which is an in-person, in a classroom with a meeting time. You're going to show up to a classroom at Thursday at 4 p.m. We have online courses that are asynchronous, meaning that there's no class meeting time. You work on the class week to week on your own time. If you want to do the class Friday at 2 in the morning, you can do that. It's totally at your pace. There's not a required class meeting time. Then we also have a few sections that are online synchronous, meaning that you do the course online, you open your laptop to do the class, but there is a day and time that you need to open your laptop and log in to do the class meeting with the professor live. So those will have a day and time, but there will be no classroom because you're doing it from your laptop wherever you may be. So those section numbers are really important to pay attention to. Any section number that has a W in it, that means web, and that means it's an online class. So you need to check, is there no meeting room? Is it asynchronous? Or is there a day and time that you need to be logging into your laptop to join the class? If there's no W in the section number, then that means it's a regular, normal, traditional in-person class. That means there is a day and time and meeting room, and you need to know what time you need to be on campus for that class. So please make sure that you know which type of course you're signing up for. And if you're an international student on an F1 visa, you need to make sure that you're in at least 2 traditional in-person courses. It's okay if your third course is online, but you need to be in at least 2 traditional in-person courses in order to maintain your F1 visa. Full-time graduate enrollment is 9 credit hours. So basically F1 visa requirements state 6 of those 9 credit hours must be in-person coursework. So that's the main thing to know when you're planning your classes. Look at those section numbers, look at the day and time, make sure you understand which type of course you're signing up for. If you want a little bit more detail on the course, you can go back a semester to view the syllabus from the class. So all of the classes have this kind of standard class description, and that's going to give you kind of the overview of what the class is about. But if you want to get detailed into like what topics are we covering each week, then you probably want to take a look at the class syllabus to understand that more granular detail. So I'm going to pull up Coursebook onto the screen so that you can take a look with me. So this is what you see whenever you pull things up, and you'll see that it defaults to fall. And you can also log in. See my net ID up here? It says JTF220001. I'm logged into Coursebook. That makes it go a little bit faster. So go ahead and log into Coursebook when you get the chance, but technically this is publicly available. You don't need to log in to see it. So I'm in fall 2024, and our class prefix, again, there it is, Operations Research, OPRE, and I'm going to click Search Classes. Now, you guys are grad students, so your course numbers start with the number 6. 6 means master students. So don't look at the 3,000 level classes, don't look at the 4,000 level classes, those are for undergrads. You're looking at 6,000 level courses. Now, I think most everybody on this call is probably going to be enrolling into statistics in their first semester. So let's take a look at that statistics and data analysis class to see what our options are. 6301, 001, that's the section number. That's a regular traditional in-person class, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Excuse me. In JSOM 1.217, that's a classroom. Don't worry about that for now. We'll make sure you know where you're going when you get here in August. If I want to see a little bit more about the class, I'm going to click Class Detail. And here I have a little description of what I'm going to be covering or what the professor is going to be covering in that class. Here is another in-person section, section 002, Monday, 1 p.m. Section 003 is Tuesday at 1 p.m. And then 5W1, the W means online, so we know that it's an online course. And look, it has a day and time. That means it's a live class with the instructor. Wednesday at 7 p.m., you're going to log into your laptop, and Professor Leach is going to do a live class session with you virtually for that section. And these are the 4 sections that are available for statistics, so you can choose one of those. Zunaid, I see your question here in the chat. What is the duration of each class? 98% of the graduate level courses are 2 hours and 45 minutes. So you'll see here with all these 6,000 level classes, 10 a.m. to 12:45, 1 p.m. to 3:45, 1 p.m. to 3:45, 2 hours, 45 minutes. That's usually the standard block. There are maybe 3 or 4 classes out there that are twice a week, 75-minute blocks. Those are very rare. 98, 99% of the time at the graduate level, it's going to be a once a week, 2 hour, 45-minute time block that you meet for that class. So that's how we're using Coursebook. We can also go back to previous semesters and see the syllabus to the course. Professors are not required to upload a syllabus for fall until the first day of class. So right now we can't really see syllabi. But if we go back to spring, this is the semester that we're in right now, spring of 2024. Click search. Now I can go see, okay, where is OPRE 6301? Oh, here it is. Now I see this syllabus link. See that here on the right-hand side? Now we have syllabus that we can see. So if I want to take a look at like what are the exact topics that are probably going to be covered in this class, I can go to the course syllabus and see, okay, well, if I look at what Dr. Toptal is covering in OPRE 6301, I can see which textbook I'm going to be using. It looks like we're using Excel. I need a calculator, and then here are all the topics: graphical descriptive techniques, data collection, sampling, probability, random variables, continuous probability, etc. You can see all of those different topics in a little bit more detail. But remember, we have to go back a semester to see these syllabus because it's not going to be posted for fall until the first day of class. So that's how we're using Coursebook. Coursebook is your friend. It will help you plan your schedule, and it'll be extremely helpful as you start going through things. Okay, I'm seeing a number of questions in the chat that I'm going to be covering in the next few slides. So I'm going to keep going, and if I don't get to your question, drop it back in the chat again, and I will address that. Okay, so we've looked at Coursebook, and that's what we're going to use to plan our schedule out. How do we actually register? So the first thing you need to do is clear any holds on your account. You probably, if you log into Orion, will see a hold that says School of Management hold. That one should be removed or pushed out or removed before next week. So if you still see that hold on your account, that's from our advising team. Let our advising team know. It's that JSOM gradvising, JSOM GR advising at utdallas.edu email address, and they can resolve that hold for you. You do not need to have your official transcript and degree certificates received by UTD for you to sign up for your first semester courses. However, we do need to have your official transcripts and official degree certificates before you can register for your spring 2025 courses. So not a problem if you haven't sent official documents yet, but we want to do that probably by September so that your spring 2025 registration is not impacted. Your enrollment appointment is the day and time that you can begin registering. So this is, again, where you want to log into your Orion Student Center, go to Manage My Classes, and then select Fall 2024. For Fall 2024, your enrollment appointment is probably Friday, April 5th at 10 a.m., Friday, April 5th at 1 p.m. It might be Thursday, April 4th. It's probably one of those dates. Whatever it may be, it's going to be a day and time. And at that day and time, you can start to actually enroll yourself into the courses. Online registration is available from that day all the way through the last day of late registration. Technically, you can add courses all the way until the semester begins, but I don't recommend doing that because if you wait until August, then it'll incur some late fees and then basically it becomes more expensive. So don't wait to add courses. Go ahead and add your classes, when that enrollment appointment becomes available. The registration limit for fall is 13 credit hours. So remember, a full-time graduate student is at least 9 credit hours. Your maximum threshold of credit hours for your first semester is 13. If you are a F1 international student, you got to be in at least 9. If you are coming in part-time as a part-time student, you could probably register for 3 or 6 credit hours, and that would be considered a part-time graduate student. But 13 is your maximum number of credit hours. Now, this is very important. Placing a course into your planner is not the same as enrolling into the course and actually registering for the course. You have to actually click Finish Enrolling in order to get yourself a seat in the course. When you go into your Orion Manage My Classes tile, you should see green check marks next to your class schedule. That will let you know that you've successfully enrolled into that course. If you need to make a change to your schedule, you can totally do that anytime between now and the end of the first week of class. So if you say, you know what, I changed my mind about which elective I want to take, and you want to switch that elective out in May or June or July, you can totally do that. You can make all the changes that you want to make by swapping classes around. So don't feel like, oh gosh, if I enroll in my classes next week, that I'm locked into those classes for the semester. No. You can swap things around, change things around as much as you want, all the way through the end of the first week of class. So just remember, you're not locked in. You can always change things between now and August. If a class section is full, then there will typically be a little orange or yellow triangle next to that class section, and that means that there's a wait list. A wait list is basically saying, hey, there are 50 seats in this class, all 50 of them are full. would you like to be on the wait list so that if somebody drops out of that class, the next person on the wait list can enroll into it. So if you see that, you can do that if you would like. If you'd like to wait for a seat to open up in that class, you can do that. I'm not anticipating that there's going to be a whole lot of wait lists. If there is a wait list and you have a question about that, you can reach out to our advising team and they're happy to help you with that. Okay, so I have covered minimum and maximum number of credits that can be taken in your first semester, 9 to 13. In terms of the subjects, most of our classes are 3 credit hours each. So everything's typically done in increments of 3. So you either have 3, 6, 9, or 12 credit hours. I am going to talk about the prerequisite courses, one of which is a 1 credit hour class, and that's why most everybody on this call is going to end up in 10 or 13 credit hours in their first semester, because there's this extra 1 credit hour prerequisite that we have everyone enroll into their first semester. But besides that 1 credit hour prerequisite, every other course that you take is a 3 credit hour course, and everything is done in increments of 3. If you were awarded a scholarship, you do need to enroll full-time, which means you need to have a minimum of 9 credit hours in your schedule for the fall. I'm going to talk about prerequisite courses and how to register for those. Sheila, summer 2024 classes are in Coursebook as well. You just have to use the drop down and change it from fall to summer. Pratiksha, I am recording this session, so you'll be able to go back and watch it from the beginning. I'm going to talk about prerequisites here in a little bit. You do not have to pay tuition first in order to register. Your tuition is billed based on the number of credit hours that you enroll into. So actually, UTD needs you to enroll in your classes first so they know how much to bill you for in your first semester. The deadline to pay your first semester tuition, I think, is sometime at the end of July. So we want you to register for classes first, and then you'll receive the bill later this summer. Okay. And Kalpesh, this recorded session I will be sending out to everybody, and that's a great segue into my next slide, which is our OM Graduate Student Resource Hub. So I wanted to get everybody familiar with this hub because it's where I put all of the things that you need to have access to. I put them in a box folder that you can access anytime. And actually, this recorded session is going to end up in this box folder after today's session. So I am going to put the link to this OM Graduate Student Resource Hub in the chat. And you do need to log in with your UTD credentials in order to see this folder. This is where I'll put the recording. I'll also send a link to it in an email. And I think actually we're also going to put this on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, yay, we have made it onto YouTube. So it'll be publicly available and very accessible for you to go back to and watch. But for all other things besides this recording, this OM Graduate Student Resource Hub is a really, really helpful hub of resources that you can refer to anytime. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen just so I can give you a quick preview of it. Inside this box folder, once you are logged in with your UTD credentials, and you don't really need to do this right now, just bookmark it, come back to it. You'll see some academic success resources. These are things to help you get off on the right foot in your first semester of graduate school. I have some information on internships and full-time jobs, orientation recordings. That's where this webinar will end up. Teaching information on teaching assistantships and scholarships. And then I have a whole bunch of other documents down here too. Management science students in particular, you should pay attention to the resource hub because I have an elective choice guide in here that will help you think about some classes to take based on career paths. Because you do get a lot of flexibility in management science. So sometimes people want some guidance like, okay, if I want to do, something in project management, what are the classes that I maybe should consider taking, right? So this elective choice guide for management science students is particularly helpful. But I have a lot of different things in here. So this is something that you'll want to bookmark and come back to because it has a lot of great resources that you'll refer to throughout your time as a UTD student. Okay, Luis, I see a question here in the chat. If the course says OW1 and day and times TBA, is it possible that it will be synchronous or asynchronous? If it says TBA, it's asynchronous. if it is a synchronous class, it will have a day and time already. And Neeraj, for the whole master's degree, 36 credit hours means 12 subjects we need to complete. Yes, that's exactly right. 12 times 3 is 36. That is exactly right. Okay, let me move on now to some degree planning. And I know a lot of you have been asking some questions about prerequisite courses. So great segue here. Again, 36 credit hours to complete your degree. You do need to maintain a 3.0 GPA to graduate. And a 3.0 GPA to stay in good academic standing. A 3.0 is a B average. So that's what you want to aim for in order to remain in good standing and be able to get your degree. It's a 3.0 GPA. We're going to cover GPA in a little bit more detail when you come here for orientation. So don't be too concerned about like the numerical GPA system. Once you get here, I'm going to cover that in more detail during the orientation that we do in August. If you are a dual degree student, you should follow your MS course guidance for your first semester. So you should basically treat your first semester like you are an MS supply chain or MS management science student if you're a dual MS plus MBA student. And then once you get into your second semester, you'll work with our advising team to start integrating those MBA courses into your second semester. But follow the guidance that you received today for your first semester. Full-time students, again, 9 credit hours is the minimum full-time requirement. If you do 9 credit hours times 4 semesters, that gets you to 36 credit hours. That's 2 years to finish the degree. If you do 12 credit hours per semester, 12 times 3, that's 1.5 years to finish. So we have some students that want to finish in 1.5 years. We have other students that want to take the full 2 years if you're a full-time student. You can kind of pace it as you see fit. If you're coming from a engineering STEM background and you've not been out of school very long, doing 12 or 13 credit hours in your first semester, probably doable. If you've been out of school for a little while, maybe your undergraduate degree is a little less quantitative. Maybe it's in commerce or social sciences or business administration or humanities, something like that. Then maybe you want to start off with 9 credit hours in your first semester. And of course, you can always increase that in your future semesters. So you can choose whether you want to take 3 classes, which is 9 credit hours, or 4 classes, which is 12 credit hours. If you have a scholarship, again, you're required to enroll full-time, minimum 9 credit hours. If you're a part-time student, you might be enrolling in just 1 or 2 classes in your first semester. 3 credit hours per semester, including summers, will take about 4 years to finish the degree. If you do 6 credit hours, that's 2 classes per semester. It'll be about 3-ish years to finish the degree. Again, it's very flexible. You can pace it out however you see fit. If you're working full time while you're in the program, you're definitely welcome to consult with me and we can kind of map out what that'll look like for your specific situation, because I know that sometimes if you're working full time or you have family obligations, the number of credits that you take each semester might change a little bit over the course of time that you're in the program. And that's totally normal and totally fine. Happy to chat about that further if that applies to you. International students, again, F1 visa holders, you need at least 9 credit hours and at least 6 of those credit hours need to be in person. Full-time enrollment is 9 credit hours. So scholarships, full-time, 9 credit hours. International students, full-time, 9 credit hours. That is your threshold that you want to be aiming for. Now, hopefully everybody read their admission letter very carefully because there are some things that are mentioned in it that you need to be aware of. If your admission letter says you have been placed into OPRE 6303, Quantitative Foundations of Business, that is a prerequisite course, and you cannot enroll yourself into that class. It actually requires the advising team to enroll you into that. So if you check your admissions letter and you see, oh, I was placed into Quantitative Foundations of Business, then the first thing you want to do is email our advising team at jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu, and they will enroll you into that OPRE 6303 prerequisite course. Now, this 6303 prerequisite course does not count towards the 36 credit hours that you need to graduate. So remember that you're going to need to take 36 credit hours above and beyond that OPRE 6303 class. is a class that you take in your first semester alongside the other first semester classes that you enroll into. So this is not something that you have to complete in semester one by itself, and then you get to start your program. It's actually a prerequisite. It's almost kind of a misnomer. It's actually kind of a co-requisite. It's saying, hey, we're going to have you take this course alongside your first semester courses, and that's how your first semester will look. Really, it's there to augment your quantitative skills in the program. Both the supply chain and management science programs have very strong quantitative foundations to them. And so we just want to make sure that you have the strong quantitative skills up to snuff in your first semester so that you'll be successful in the rest of the program. So that's really what it's designed to do. If you're placed into 6303, I strongly suggest that you take the class very seriously. It's there to help you to make sure that you're going to be successful in the program. If your admission letter does not mention anything about OPRE 6303, then you do not need to take it, and you can ignore everything that I just said about 6303. Okay, so let's now get into the nitty-gritty of what your first semester schedule is going to look like. Supply chain students, I am going to start with you. Now, I mentioned to everyone that MAS 6102 is the 1 credit hour professional development class that everybody takes in their first semester, and it's a 1 credit hour prerequisite class. So that's the very first thing that you're going to want to enroll into for your first semester, is choose a section of MAS 6102 professional development. If you aren't aware, this class is taught by our Career Management Center, and it's there to basically give you all the things you need to know to be a successful professional in your internship search and in your job search. This class is actually taught by former recruiters who have recruited college students and graduate students before. So you're hearing it right from the horse's mouth in terms of the best things to do for your resume and networking and using LinkedIn and interviewing and all those things that you need to know to be a successful professional. So it's a really, really important course. And our students actually say over and over again how helpful the professional development class is for them. So please make sure that you select a section of 6102 first, because everybody's got to do that. Now, after you've done that, supply chain students, you need to take 2 classes in your first semester, a statistics course and operations management. You get to pick between statistics and data analysis, that's OPRE 6301, and that was the example that I showed you in Coursebook, or advanced statistics for data science, which is OPRE 6359. And this is important for everybody on the call to understand. 6301 is an Excel-based statistics course. 6359 is an R-based statistics course. If you really love analytics and you're like, I want to do applied machine learning or do advanced analytics courses, or I want to learn R, you should take 6359. It's the more advanced statistics option. If none of those things apply to you, then you're probably fine with 6301. Most of our supply chain students and management science students actually, most of our supply chain students take 6301, and that's fine. Management science, it's a little more split 50-50. But just be aware that that's the difference between the 2 statistics courses. One is Excel-based, one is R-based. So pick the one that makes sense for your goals. If you're very analytical and data focused and you want to learn R and do advanced electives, probably need to take advanced statistics. If that's not you, or you're okay with taking analytics courses that don't require R, then 6301, the Excel-based class, is going to be just fine. 6302 is operations management, and that course has a co-requisite of statistics, but we need you to take 6302 in your first semester as well. So those are the 2 that you're going to be taking in your first semester for sure. Now, we got to get you, if you're an international student, we need to get you to full-time enrollment, which is going to be 10 credit hours in this case, right? We have MAS 6102, which is 1 hour, and then 2 3-hour classes. Now we're at 7 credit hours. We're going to add 1 more class to get to 10. You could choose another core class for the degree, which is OPRE 6371. That's purchasing, sourcing, and contract management, or an accounting course, which is accounting 6305 or 6301. If you want to do another core class for your degree, I would pick one of those 2 in your first semester. If you would like to do an elective, that is fine. And for people that want to take 13 credit hours in their first semester, I would suggest doing statistics, operations management, purchasing, sourcing, contract management, and an elective, and that'll get you to 13 credit hours. Now, before I talk about the elective options, I want to pull up the catalog because this is what you will want to bookmark. I'm not sure if anybody has been over to the catalog yet, but the catalog is your official degree requirements. And this is what the university will use to make sure that you've completed all of your degree requirements when it's time for you to get your degree. The catalog updates every summer. Currently, if you look here on this page, we see 2023. See this 2023 graduate catalog? You guys are coming in for fall 2024. So this catalog is actually going to update this summer, and you'll want to bookmark the catalog in August, but you're fine to bookmark this one for now, okay? So I'm going to drop this one in the chat here, Zunaid. This is for you guys. If you're a supply chain student, you should bookmark this one. Management science, I'm going to come to you here in a little bit. But this is the official requirements for your degree. If you scroll down here, this is where you'll see your core course requirements. Remember, statistics, we need one of those two classes, and operations management. These are the two that I'm telling you to take in your first semester. Purchasing sourcing is another first semester course option, and then accounting is another option. In fall of 2024, we are adding another accounting class option. There's going to be another one that says Accounting 6301. So you could choose Accounting 6301 or 6305. And I'm going to pop the slide back up here. Notice on the slide how we have Accounting 6305 and 6301. That's because your catalog is going to be updated this summer. And then when you go back to this page, you will see another accounting class in this section. So you can choose Accounting 6305 or 6301. This will update this summer with that option. And then your elective choices are down here. This is a long list of electives, I know. That's why I'm going to go back to the slide to talk through some elective choice options here. I highly encourage everybody who's a supply chain student to strongly consider taking one of the green elective options that you see on the slide here. The green electives are very analytically and technically focused courses. And what we're seeing is that those really strong analytical and technical STEM skills are very much in demand in the job market right now. And especially for international students, I think it's very important that you get the most out of this STEM designated degree. So I really, really encourage you to take a look at these green highlighted elective courses. And when you go into Coursebook, they should populate and you'll be able to read a little description of each of the classes. Operations Analytics 6304 includes demand forecasting, inventory planning, and supply chain analytics, and it is a fantastic course. Really, really think about taking that one. Internet of Things, it's focused on smart warehousing. That's taught by an information systems faculty member. Fantastic course. Spreadsheet modeling. You will become an Excel master, and Excel is still widely used across the industry at just about every level. Strongly suggest looking at 6332 spreadsheet modeling. Supply chain software with SAP. Professor Ramesh Subramaniam from our department teaches that class. He is phenomenal. He had worked in supply chain consulting for years. If you're not familiar with SAP, SAP is used by almost 90% of S&P 500 companies. You're probably going to see SAP at some point in your career. And if you're not familiar with it, get familiar with it in your first year so that you can leverage that for your internship search. I strongly suggest you take a look at 6369 software with SAP. Intelligent Enterprise Systems with SAP is another SAP-based course. You don't have to take both of them if you don't want to. You can take a look at each one and decide which one makes more sense for you. Intelligent Enterprise Systems with SAP is taught by a faculty member in the information systems area. So it's something that like IT management students you're probably gonna have more IT management students in 6390 than in 6369. That's kind of the difference, but they're both SAP-based courses. Both are fantastic. Database Foundations is the last one, 6393. If you are looking at a job where, hey, understanding SQL, SQL Structured query language is something that you want to have under your belt. Strongly suggest thinking about taking database foundations. So those 6 green electives are the ones that I really, really, really want you to take a look at closely, because those are going to be the classes that give you those in-demand analytical and technical skills. If you want to do business analytics with R, you need advanced statistics. So that one there at the top, 6305, you need to have advanced stat if you're interested in that. Healthcare operations management, if you're interested in going into healthcare or a healthcare adjacent role, that's an option. Retail operations is very industry focused. Project management is another good one if you're interested in project management as a career. Lean Six Sigma is focused on continuous improvement. We do have a strategy course that you can take in your first semester if you'd like. We have a product lifecycle management class that's being offered. Trade compliance is taught by a lawyer if you're interested in international and global trade from a lawyer's point of view. And then technology and new product development is another class taught by the information systems area. So those are other options. Those are fine and great too. But I did want to make mention that, I think you want to really set yourself up for what's going to be most in demand in the job market. And those green highlighted courses are the ones that I want you to look at first. Ultimately, this degree is something, you decide, right? You decide what you want to do. But I did want to kind of give you some guidance in terms of what to maybe think about and narrow things down to. Okay. Let's go now to management science. And then I'm going to come back to the chat to answer some questions. Management science students, it's your turn. Okay, same thing. MAS 6102, professional development. Take that first. That's the first thing you're adding to your shopping cart. Same thing with with statistics. Same advice applies to you. If you want an Excel-based statistics class, 6301, R-based, 6359. If you are looking at business analytics jobs, I would strongly suggest 6359. That's the course that all the MS Business Analytics students have to take. So I would really, really suggest looking at that one. Now, I'm going to pop up the catalog for management science here, because you do have a required core class that is very much dependent on which statistics course you take. So management science, I'm going to drop this here in the chat for you guys. And I want you to take a look at your core courses with close detail. So here's your stats course. Everybody's taken that in their first semester. You have to do a business analytics class as a core. And if you do 6301, this regular statistics class, then you're going to be required to do business analytics with SAS, 6324. If you take 6359, which is advanced statistics, then you have the choice of doing either one of these, SAS or R. But you'll notice that analytics with R, requires that advanced statistics course. That's because the statistics class with R is going to set you up to do business analytics with R. But if you do an Excel-based statistics course, that is not going to set you up to do business analytics with R. So that's why you have to decide what you're going to do. If you're going to have kind of a lighter analytical bend to your degree, then you should do 6301 and then take business analytics with SAS in the spring of 2025. But if you want deeper level analytics, like what the business analytics students do, 6359 plus business analytics with R. Okay, so that's the main thing for management science students to know, is that your statistics class in your first semester is going to kind of set the path for what you get to do next. So please make sure that you're considering that carefully. Okay, so in addition to your statistics class, I would recommend another core course in your first semester, but management science is extremely flexible. So I don't necessarily say you must take like one course over the other. You can do spreadsheet modeling, OPRA 6332. You could do your database foundations course in your first semester, or you could do that business analytics class in your first semester. It is your choice. I would say statistics plus one other core is kind of the management science guidance there. Then to get yourself to full-time, you can take one elective. You could do another core class and knock out 3 of the 4 core classes in your first semester if you wanted to do that. Totally your choice. Now, you guys, as management science students, get to take electives from anywhere in JSOM. So you have a lot of choice. You can do like whatever you want. So I want you to kind of think about what is the end goal with your degree, right? Where do you want to go after JSOM? Because that should really be what guides you. And this is actually advice really for everybody. Where you want to go after your degree should guide the choices that you make during the program. So if you say, John, I really want to go into a data analyst role, then I'm saying, okay, you really need to be focusing in on these business analytics courses, the BUON 6312, BUON 6335. We want you treating this degree like a business analytics degree. If you say, well, I'm actually more interested in marketing or supply chain, the class choices then that you choose for those electives are going to be different based on what that end goal is. But it's good to have that end goal in mind so that we can appropriately advise you on which classes to take while you're a graduate student to give you those skills that you need to land that job that you want. So this is, again, where we're going to go back to the Graduate Student Resource Hub. And let me see if I can pull that up here. Oh, I think I might have closed it. One moment, please. And here we go. Here it is. There we are. So management science students, this is where I want you to log in to the Resource Hub and find your elective choice guide PDF right here. Because I know that when you have so many options, it can feel like choice paralysis, and I don't want you to have choice paralysis. I want you to have something to kind of start with and go off of. So if you said, again, I really want to go into business analytics, consider these electives as analytically inclined choices to get you there. Perhaps you're more interested in healthcare, right? That's a sector maybe you want to break into. Consider the classes on this page, supply chain management. Again, so this elective choice guide can be a good place to start. Now, management science students, please email me with questions about your schedule. I am happy to help guide you and give you kind of that individual guidance of like, okay, I see myself doing this. What should I really be focused on to kind of get there? Please send me an email. I'm totally happy to give you some more tailored guidance to your specific situation. And of course, that goes for anybody. Supply chain, it's usually a little more straightforward in the first semester. I kind of give you a more prescriptive list. Management science students, I know that when you have that elective choice, it can be anything, and that can feel, oh my gosh. So please let me know if you want to talk about that. But hopefully this guide will at least give you a place to start, so you have at least something to kind of refer to. Okay, let me take a look at the chat here and make sure that folks are getting questions answered. Okay, Murtaza, I see your question here. Can we opt for 18 credit? No, do not take 18 credit hours. Your max is 13 in that first semester. And there are no exceptions to that. 13 is your max. Can we not enroll into any of the core courses of management science and export finance? Any of that? Okay, so that's kind of going back to the guidance that I just gave. If you want to take an elective for your degree in your first semester, absolutely. So if you're thinking, well, I'm interested in finance or accounting, and you want to take a finance or accounting class in your first semester, totally go for it. Just make sure that you're at that 13 credit hour threshold. There is no requirement. UT Dallas does not have a requirement that you enroll into a certain number of core courses in your first semester. Technically, somebody could take all electives in their first semester and nothing's going to stop them from doing that. That's a terrible idea. And that's why we have this registration meeting so that I can give you the guidance that you need to stay on track with your degree. So I do not recommend anybody take just electives in their first semester. But technically, there is no person at UTD stopping you from doing that. But again, please follow my guidance. That's why we're having this meeting, because I want to make sure that you're going to stay on track for your degree. Housing, let's revisit that at the end. WhatsApp groups, I'm going to send you guys WhatsApp groups for your new batches at the end as well. Kalpesh, if you are in professional development and quantitative foundations of business, then yes, you will take both of those prerequisites, both of them at the same time in your first semester. Can you do a year-long internship? Yes, and I'm going to cover that in a little bit. Yes, again, Kalpesh, yep, Mass 6102 and OPRE 6303. If you're placed into 6303, then you'll take both professional development and 6303 at the same time in your first semester. your 13 credit hour limit does include those prerequisite courses. So even though the prerequisites are not counting towards your degree, they are counting towards your full-time enrollment, your enrollment limit. So you got to still maintain that 13 credit hour limit. So if you were placed into 6303, then you will want to take Math 6102, OPRE 6303, and then if you want to hit that max 13 credit hour threshold, then you'll select 3 other courses. Kayla, we'll chat about leadership and organizations. I have some electives that I will recommend to you. So please send me an email and we'll talk about that. Because yeah, that one's not, I tried to put like the most common like career path choices that I see management science students wanting to go into and use that as the basis for that elective guide. So that's why that one didn't end up in there, but we'll chat and I'll give you some guidance there. Again, scholarship recipients, you need to be in at least 9 credit hours. Scholarship recipients must be full-time enrolled, at least 9 credit hours. And again, with your 6102 professional development class, it'll actually be 10 credit hours. Do F1 international students have to do the prerequisite professional development? No. 6102 is taken in your first semester alongside your other courses. So the word prerequisite makes it sound like it has to be completed before you begin on your first semester. It actually doesn't work that way. The prerequisites are actually taken alongside your first semester schedule. It's just that those credits don't end up counting towards the 36 you need to graduate. Will we be tested for the prerequisite courses Math 6102? Sheila, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. Math 6102 is, I don't know if there are exams as part of that class. I don't think it's an exam-based course. It's really there to enhance your professional development. So it's not like something where you are taking exams. It's actually just an 8-week course. So you take it either in the first 8 weeks of the semester or second 8 weeks of the semester. It actually doesn't last the whole semester. So you'll see that whenever you go into course book, it'll say like start date and end date, and the start and end dates is actually only an 8-week block. Okay. For students coming in summer, I did want to give you some summer specific guidance here. If you're a supply chain student, Math 6102 is offered in the summer. Well, in management science, it's offered in the summer. You should take your statistics class in the summer, and full-time enrollment in summer is 6 credit hours because the summer semester is only 11 weeks long. It's a condensed term. So classes in the summer move a lot faster. We don't have very many classes offered in the summer, so it's very slim pickings. My understanding is that F1 international students need to be in at least 3 credit hours of in-person coursework, and most of our summer classes are offered online. So you have to do some tough finagling to kind of make a schedule that works for you. OPRE 6301 is offered online. OPRE 6302 is offered online. So if you're an international student coming into supply chain for summer of 2024, you can't actually take both of those classes together in your summer semester. You would need to enroll in OPRE 6359, which is offered in person. And then there's like maybe 1 or 2 electives that are offered in person as well. Management science, your statistics class, again, same thing, 6301 is offered online, 6359 is in person. And then your other course, there's going to be a smattering of other options. If summer 2024 will be your very first semester as a graduate student, I really, really, really encourage you to think about deferring to fall of 2024. Because summer is just not, it's hard to make a schedule in summer of let's put it that way. It's very difficult to make a summer schedule in summer of 2024. It's dead around here in the summer. Most of our students are at home doing internships, or they're either at home or they're away doing an internship. So we don't have a lot of class options to give you in the summer. So if summer is going to be your very first semester of graduate study, I really want you to think about coming in fall, because that's going to give you way, way, way more options. You're going to have a much more smooth start to your graduate education. The classes in fall and spring are 16 weeks long. Fall and spring semesters are 16 weeks. Like I said earlier, summer is 11 weeks. It's a shorter semester. So professors are having to pack classes in a lot at a faster pace. So it's not a time that I recommend people start their graduate degree. So I really, really, really encourage you to think about coming in fall of 2024 if you had been admitted for summer of 2024. If you do decide to remain in the summer 2024 intake, then you'll need to register for summer 2024 classes first, and then add fall 2024 classes second. Because if there's something in your second semester, which would be fall 24, that requires a prerequisite course, you need to be enrolled into that prerequisite course first in summer in order for the system to recognize that you're eligible to add it in fall of 2024. So summer first and then fall if you decide to remain in the summer 2024 intake. Okay. Let me go back to the chat here because I'm seeing more questions roll in. Where can I find resources that would help me plan out my specific career trajectory? The one you shared on your screen earlier. That is in the OM Graduate Student Resource Hub box folder. And I dropped that link in the chat earlier. So start there, but Murtaza, if you want to chat individually further, totally happy to kind of to do that. So start with the box folder and then we'll go from there. Chirayu, question about the scholarship. Scholarship mentions that the committee's in for a dual course. Do we need to enroll separately for the dual course for the scholarship to be valid? You can accept the scholarship, and the scholarship team will let you know the next steps in terms of the dual degree step. It's really more of a formality than anything. It does not impact your registration for this first semester. You should follow the guidance that you're getting from me for your first semester registration. As far as the dual degree enrollment side of things, the scholarship team will be able to help you with that, but it does not impact what you're learning from me today. Nishala, question about business analytics and marketing management. What is better when it comes to opportunities for freshers? That's probably something that we should discuss at the end because there's a lot of parts to that question. And that's kind of like a career guidance question. So let's circle back to that one and we'll save that for the end. If in any case, specifically for a visa appointment, one can't make it to fall of 2024, can you start from spring of 25? Yes. If you are having visa difficulties, something happens and you're not gonna be able to make it to Dallas by August 19th, then please defer your admission to spring of 2025. And you can join us in spring of 2025. However, before you can do the deferral, we'll just need you to withdraw from all of your courses. So if you're like, oh gosh, I'm not sure about the visa appointment, it's fine to go ahead and enroll in classes. And in fact, I would encourage you to go ahead and get yourself enrolled in classes so that you're ready to go. And then if you do need to defer, you can just drop yourself from all your classes and then defer to spring of 25. And then I will do this exact same meeting for you in October to get you registered for spring of 2025. Mass 6102 is a required prerequisite for everybody. OPRE 6303 is only required for some people. So I'm going to go back here for just a second. See number 5 on the screen here. If your admissions letter says you were placed into 6303, then you need to email our advising team to get enrolled into 6303. Otherwise, everybody will take Mass 6102. That's like the across the board prerequisite. Sai Suprad, how many times can we defer? You can defer, it'll probably end up being once. So if you defer to spring of 2025, basically you have until census day of your original term of admission to defer. So if we get past like August 31st and you need to defer again, then you actually need to reapply to UTD. So technically there's no limit to deferring, but in reality, in practice, you're probably not going to be able to defer more than once. But reapplying is actually not a big deal. People think like, oh gosh, I have to like submit a new application. It's really more of a formality. We just need you to submit the application again. You're not actually uploading like new transcripts and anything like that. If that happens, reach out to me, let me know, and I'll give you more guidance at that time. Okay, 2 semesters make 1 term and 2 terms make up the entire duration of the program, correct? Semester and term are interchangeable. So when we say fall semester and fall term, same thing. Spring semester, spring term, same thing. Okay, we were right here at summer. Okay, so let's move on now to the graduate academic certificates. If this is something that you're interested in doing, I wanted to make note of it now. Basically, a graduate academic certificate is a 9 or 12 credit hour certificate that if you take the right electives as part of your degree, you can earn this certificate along the way. There are a ton of them here in JSON. I put a couple of examples on the slide here: intelligent enterprise systems and applied machine learning. If you're a management science student, you can do any graduate academic certificate. You just take the classes, they're your electives, and you're good to go. If you're a supply chain student, you don't have that take any electives part of your degree. You have a list of electives, right? You saw in your catalog that there were a list of OPRE electives that you have to do. So you have to be a little more careful in planning how you would do a graduate academic certificate if that's something that you want to do. So you would actually need to apply for a certificate just like how you applied for your master's degree. And it's done through Orion, and it is free. And you would just need to apply before you finish the coursework for the certificate. If a graduate academic certificate is something that sounds like, oh, I think I might want to earn this while I'm at UTD, let me know, and I can spell this out in a little bit more detail for you. I'll also cover this again in orientation, because sometimes between the time people enroll now and the time they get here at orientation, they've decided, oh, I think I do want to pick up one of those certificates while I'm, a JSOM master student. And I'll go through that again in August. So no rush on this, but I did want to make mention that we do have these academic certificates here in JSOM that you can pick up along the way while you're a student here. Internships. This is not something that I'm going to go in depth right now, because an internship is not actually something that you can earn credit for or do until you get to the halfway point of your program. If you're an international student, you're only eligible to do CPT, which is curricular practical training, after you've completed 18 credit hours and 2 long semesters. So everybody coming in for fall of 2024, you're eligible to start doing an internship in summer 2025. So that's why it's not really anything that you need to be super fussed with right now. But I wanted to make mention of it so you have an idea of how this will work later on down the road. If you're a domestic student, of course, you can work anytime, but you're not able to earn that internship credit until you've completed 18 credit hours in the program. We do have a 0 credit hour option for an internship, and you can earn up to 3 credit hours towards your degree for doing an internship, but it's a maximum of 3 credit hours that will be earned towards your degree. If you ever think that you're going to fail a class, please let me know, because that can impact your internship eligibility. So if that might be something that you're facing in your first semester, please come talk to me, because we want to make sure that you're in good academic standing with 18 credit hours complete so that you can do that summer 2025 internship. I will go through this in more detail once you are here in your first semester. It doesn't really impact your first semester planning, but I did just want to make mention of it. Okay, international students. If you have questions about your I-20, your F1 visa, you should reach out to our International Students and Scholars Office. And actually, that email that you see on the screen is not the one I would have you use. You should use ISSO perspective@utdallas.edu, and I just dropped that in the chat. Our International Students and Scholars Office is most qualified to help you with I-20 and visa questions. I know this much about I-20 and visa, and they know this much. So often I will push you to ISSO for any kind of visa and I-20 related questions, because I want you to get that advice straight from them. Now, I'm seeing some questions here about visa slots. So if there are no visa slots available as of now, and you can't get the visa slot in time for fall of 2024, then you can defer to spring of 2025. If you already deferred from spring 24 to fall 24, SciSuProd, you're probably going to need to reapply for spring of 2025. Send me an email and I can give you the details on that. It's basically just going into Orion, into the applicant center, and selecting spring 2025 and submitting an application for spring of 2025. You don't have to re-upload letters or essays or anything like that. It's literally just the application that needs to be resubmitted for spring of 2025. Because your original term of admission was spring of 2024. And spring of 2024 has, like, it's too far gone past that original date. So if you already deferred to fall 2024, we need to reapply for spring of 25. Okay. If you think you might be qualified, CalPESH, for a Mass 6102 waiver, a waiver is available for students who have done an internship in the United States or have worked full-time in the United States for 2 or more years. So if that applies to you, you will want to go here. I'm going to drop this link here in the chat and fill out the MAS 6102 waiver request form. See this link right down here at the bottom? When you click on that waiver request form, you'll log in with your UTD credentials. It's a Microsoft form. See, it has my name there. It'll populate with your name that's attached to your NetID. And then you just fill out this form and it'll have you select which option applies to you. So if you have 2+ years of work experience here in the US, you had done an internship here in the US, you had done a UTD business communications course. If you're in the MBA cohort, that's not anybody. PhD, that's not anybody. So if you are a JSOM undergrad alum, or if you're a UT Dallas undergraduate alum and you were in JSOM or the School of Engineering, then you should select this option here. If you are a student that had done an internship here in the US, maybe your undergraduate degree is not from UTD, but it's elsewhere in the US, but you did that internship for your bachelor's degree, that would be this one. Or if you've been working in the US for 2+ years full-time, then you would select this first option. So that's how you get to the Mass 6102 waiver. If any of those apply to you, then you can apply for that waiver, and our Career Management Center will get back to you on that. Okay, let me go back to the chat here. Maximum number of graduate certificates that somebody can have. I don't think there is a maximum. Your degrees are 36 credit hours and the certificates are typically 9 to 12 credit hours. So I don't see people doing more than one usually as part of their degree. You could try to do 2 if you really wanted to. So there's no maximum, but you know, if you're trying to bake this into your 36 credit hours of your master's degree, you're going to come up against some limits. And I would say probably 1 is most practical for most people, maybe 2. Management science, you could probably do 2 and be okay. Can you please tell us for supply chain, which electives would be required for MIS 6369 or academic certificate, where can we find it? Okay, so go over to the catalog. I put your catalog links in the chat. You can get to this from either one. Scroll down, see how we see Jindal School of Management here on the right? Scroll down to JSOM certificate programs. This is where you see all the certificates. So CalPESH, regarding MIS 6369, that is part of the Intelligent Enterprise System certificate right here. When you click on those certificates, it's going to take you to the requirements of the certificate, just like you saw the requirements of your master's degree. So for this graduate certificate, it's 9 credit hours, which means it's 3 classes. And you're required to do Intelligent Enterprise Systems with SAP, Intelligent Enterprise Systems configurations and implementations with SAP, class number 2, and then you get to choose one of these 3. And this supply chain software with SAP, that is our course. That's the OPRE 6369. That's Professor Ramesh. So basically, if you take this course, and this course as part of your supply chain degree, you can earn that certificate along the way. That's the idea behind it. How many days will we receive the I-20 from the university? I want to say that they've been processing I-20s within like 10 business days, but I could be really wrong about that. Email isssoperspective@utdallas.edu to get an answer on that, because I'm not sure how fast they are processing things right now. I want to say it's relatively quickly, but I'm not actually sure. Okay. Okay, we talked about deferring if you're not gonna be able to make it. Please make sure that you report your local address to UTD as soon as possible. So once you get here, report that local address. You might also see a TB test hold on your account. That will be pushed out to allow you to register. However, if your TB test is not done once you get here, then you won't be able to like swap things in your schedule once you get here. So just be aware that that could happen if you aren't able to get your TB test done when you arrive to UTD. Regarding official transcripts, you can send them electronically. You can also bring them in a signed sealed envelope from the undergraduate institution. Just be careful if you bring them physically with you because admissions will not accept any official document where the envelope was torn or ripped. So you got to be really, really careful if you're going to bring a physical envelope with you. If you can send it electronically, that is definitely the easiest way to go. Okay, so since we talked about that, let me go back over here and I'm going to give you information on how to send those things electronically. It is right here on the admissions website, and I'm dropping this link here in the chat. If you have not yet submitted your degree certificates and transcripts, the official versions, please make sure you bookmark this page because it will tell you how to send them officially. These are the electronic options right here that are highlighted. Most people end up using Parchment True Copy, this one right here. That's probably 90% of what works for people. You can also do the WES International Credential Advantage package. If you end up sending them by mail, then they need to be mailed from the institution to this address, or you can bring them in a signed sealed envelope with you when you fly to the US and then turn them in to the admissions office. So that is the information that you want to know. If you had a GMAT GRE score, make sure that you send those officially to UTD. If you had an IELTS, Duolingo, TOEFL score, we also need an official copy of that, our official score sent to us for that. So that link that I just dropped in the chat will have all of that official documentation guidance on it. Okay, Aishwarya, when would we register for first semester courses? You need to go into Orion and check for your enrollment appointment. It's probably Thursday, April 4th or Friday, April 5th. And I covered that at the beginning of the session. So just go back and watch the recording to review that information. And then Olalua, I think if it's going to be emailed, it would be admission@utdallas.edu. But you should check with the admissions office because I'm not sure, like, if which email they would want it to come to. Hold on one moment here. Oh, Kayla, perfect. Oh, amazing. Admission@utdallas.edu. Love it. Okay. Niraj, confirm the estimated semester fees for 9 credit hours or estimated charges for each course, 3 credit hours. You can use the tuition estimator tool on the Bursar's office website. Let me come back to that here at the end because I have a couple more things to cover and then I'll start going question by question. Second to last thing I want you to know, communication expectations. Again, please read all the emails sent to your UTD email now. You need to use your UTD email to communicate with the admissions office, to communicate with me, to communicate with advising. Everybody expects a UTD email at this point. So now that you've been admitted, make sure that you're using that and not your personal email. Don't use social media or Teams to contact me or staff. I know I connected with everybody on LinkedIn, but now that you're admitted and you're coming in, if you have a question, please email me about that. Don't send me a LinkedIn message. I was happy to chat with you guys on LinkedIn and send you like a welcome message. If it's something not UTD related, or like, oh, I connected with somebody, totally fine to message me on LinkedIn for that. But if it's like about UTD stuff, enrollment, admissions, please use your UTD email to contact me about that. During registration periods, it can get kind of busy. So just give our advising team, especially a little bit of grace as they work with new students to get them enrolled. So just make sure that you're giving our advising team a little bit of grace there because they have a lot of students that they have to help with registration. And finally, professionalism is very important. So I know I told you guys, you can call me John, but for your faculty in the classroom, please make sure that you address them as professor or doctor, whoever it may be, unless they tell you that it's okay for you to call them by their first name. Okay. Last slide here. Conclusion, read your emails. Again, I know I said it over and over again, but that UTD email is so important. I've had people really mess some things up because they were ignoring their UTD email inbox. We're going to use Coursebook to search for classes and start building your schedule. You're going to go into Orion to actually enroll in the classes during your enrollment appointment. And of course, reach out to me if you have any questions. So here are the things that I want you to download. Download that Outlook app onto your phone so that you can log in with your UTD email, and you can get that on your phone. It'll make it super easy to keep up with what's happening in your inbox. The UTD app has a campus map. It has a calendar. It has a whole bunch of stuff that'll make the transition to UTD a lot easier. So make sure that you download the UTD app. We also use it to scan people into events. So like once you get here and you want to attend an event, we'll use the UTD app to like take attendance and scan you in. So make sure that you download that. It'll also have a map. The map is super helpful. You can actually see the classrooms in the building. So if you say, oh, I'm going to have a classroom in JSOM 1.217, you can go into the map, go to the first floor of JSOM and see exactly where that classroom is. So it's like super helpful. Box, again, I've mentioned the OM Graduate Student Resource Hub. I put all those resources for you guys in Box. You just have to log in with your UTD credentials, and you can download the Box app if you want to have that on the mobile. LinkedIn, program page, alumni. LinkedIn's something that you'll actually be working on in your MAS 6102 professional development class. So you might as well get a head start and get your profile ready to go and have LinkedIn on your phone. And then I know everybody has been waiting for their new batch group chat. So let me give you your new batch group chats here in the, drop them in the chat. So if you're a supply chain student, go ahead and click this link. That is your WhatsApp group for the fall batch. If you're a management science student, please go ahead and click this link. And that will take you to your management science chat. So go ahead and join those chats. Currently, I'm in the group and one of our current students is in the group because I needed someone to like make the group with. But if you have other batchmates that are coming in for the program that you're friends with, or they connect with you and they're like, hey, I want to get in the group chat, please feel free to send them this link. I try to get it out there as much as I can. So I'll send this in my follow-up email as well, so all of the new students can join their WhatsApp groups. So you have that. So, okay, I believe I have made it to the end of my presentation. So let's start answering some questions here. If your first semester is fall 24, when do you apply for internships as an international student? And are there instances where one fails to get an internship? So if you are coming in for fall of 2024, you will become eligible for CPT, which is your internship work authorization, starting in summer of 2025. Provided that you're in good academic standing and you've completed 18 credit hours. It's basically the halfway point of your degree. That's when you can do an internship. There are occasionally times when somebody fails to land an internship. Not a problem. We have you covered. So we have a capstone course called OPRE 6367, and it's called Capstone Projects in Supply Chain. And that is the class that students take if they don't land an internship. We also have students who take that class even if they did do an internship, because it's a mini internship built into the class and built into your degree. So again, we want you to get that experience. We want you to be able to apply what you've learned in the classroom to a company, to a real life supply chain situation. So if you don't get an internship, we're basically going to give you a mini internship through that OPRE 6367 class, and that's something that you'll take in your second year. So don't worry about that for now. We can revisit that next summer if we need to revisit that, but just know we got you covered. Sunmesh, will registration be available only the 4th and 5th of April, or can we register afterwards as well? You can register afterwards as well. Your enrollment appointment is just a beginning day and time that you can begin enrolling. It's from that day and time forward that you can do whatever you want, add, swap, all the way through the end of the first week of class in August. So really that gives you like 4.5 months to register and add and change your courses. But again, as summer goes on, or as time goes on, classes will start to fill up. and eventually a section might be full. So your choices for classes are greatest at that enrollment appointment. So if you see April 5th at 10 a.m., April 5th at 10 a.m. is going to give you the most choices for classes. If you wait until May 5th, there might be some classes that are full already. So that's why we encourage you to go ahead and locate that enrollment appointment so that you can enroll as soon as you can. How can we estimate our overall tuition fee? Okay, two things with that. Number one, go to the tuition estimator tool from the Bursar's office. And let me drop this link here in the chat. All of you guys actually are admitted students, so you should be able to do this through Orion. You're going to want to click on this for current or admitted students. And it will tell you where to go in Orion to get that tuition estimate for your fall semester. This is what you can use to estimate tuition and fees for one semester. Now, if you are an international student, you will also want to be paying attention to the information. Hang on, where is it? Here, on the ISSO I-20 page. Okay, I'm going to drop this link in the chat here too. Oops, hold on, here we go. This is the amount that you need to provide to get your I-20. The estimate for your I-20 includes 1 whole year of full-time study plus living expenses. So you'll want to use that tuition estimator tool in Orion to kind of say, okay, 1 semester tuition and fees for however many credits you want to enroll in that first semester, and then pop over to the ISSO page to get that amount that you need for your I-20 to move forward with your F1 visa. Start with the I-20 because I know that visa appointments might be hard to come by, and so the faster you get on that I-20, the better chances you have of securing a visa appointment. So use both in tandem. The Bursar's instructions here on this page telling you to go into Galaxy to do the tuition estimate through there is good for 1 semester tuition and fees. ISSO's I-20 information is what you need for that whole first year to move forward with the visa process. Okay. Oh my goodness, so many questions. If we receive a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, do we have to pay the fees of the first semester entirely and then the scholarship gets credited after the first semester? Is that the case? I don't know, Kalpesh. That would be a question for the scholarship team. Send them an email at this email address, jsom-grad-scholarship@utdallas.edu. I don't know when they credit your account with the scholarship money, but they won't be able to really do anything until you've enrolled in classes, right? Because we need to see how many credit hours you're enrolled in, so UTD knows how much your bill is. So I think you have to enroll first before any of that would even come into play. Okay, put the WhatsApp groups in the chat. If we received a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, okay, again, same question. Okay, Kayla, a couple of questions. Can you share the date of graduate orientation? Yes, it is always the Thursday of the week before classes beginning. So your classes in fall 2024 begin on Monday, August 19th, which means that orientation will take place on Thursday, August 15th. If you're an international student, there will be some other international orientations that you'll need to take care of before August 15th as well. So be on the lookout for communication from the Intercultural Programs Office and the International Students and Scholars Office, because there's some other things that you'll need to do before the 15th. If you're a domestic student, then you only have to do JSOM and program orientation, which is on Thursday, August 15th. What do you recommend when it comes to buying books, and do you suggest students have a laptop? Laptop, definitely. I think in today's learning environment, you definitely want to have a laptop. When it comes to buying books, I would wait until you get to the first week of class, because when you go to the first class, that's where the instructor will clarify whether a textbook is recommended or required, what the textbook is, where to get it, how to access it, whether an older version is acceptable and you can save money by buying the older version. All of that should be addressed in your first week of class. So hold off. And go to that first week of class, and then after you have gone to each class, you can decide what you need to do for the textbooks. Wrong. If we receive a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, do we have to pay the fee? Okay, I just emailed JSOM Grad Scholarship because I'm not sure about that. The non-resident graduate tuition estimate says about $60K for 2 terms, including living expenses. So is that for the for the year or the entire 2 years? I don't know where you're seeing that, Saisha. So if you could link me to where you're seeing that estimate, I can clarify what that is entailing. Shamali, will we receive an enrollment appointment on mail or are we supposed to contact anyone? No. You need to go into Orion yourself to locate that enrollment appointment in your Manage My Classes tile. I don't think you get an email about it, and you do not need to contact anyone about that. It'll be visible to you in Orion through the Manage My Classes tile. Nimra, we can register in classes only after we get an email regarding, no. You locate that enrollment appointment yourself by logging into Orion and going to Manage My Classes. So if you are on the main UT Dallas homepage, okay, here we go to resources, see this Galaxy login. This is where you can go to click on Orion. This is where you log in to do all these things. When I say Orion, this is what I'm referring to. Your Orion is going to look different than mine, though. I have a faculty staff Orion. You have a student Orion. So I can't really demo it because my homepage is a faculty homepage. It looks like this, though, but yours should say up here student, like UTD student homepage, something like that. That's the one that you want to be at. There will be a tile on this page. See these tiles that I have? Mine are faculty. One of yours will say Manage My Classes. That's where you need to go to see that enrollment appointment. Nobody's going to email you about it. You don't have to contact anyone about it. It should be there for you to view. And again, that enrollment day and time is the very first day and time that you can begin enrolling, and it can be classes can be added and swapped anytime after that enrollment appointment. If we have a scholarship, are we eligible for a teaching assistantship? No, you cannot have both a scholarship and a teaching assistantship at the same time. So if you were awarded a scholarship for fall 24 and spring 25, then you cannot have a TA-ship in spring 2025. But if you don't have a scholarship in your second year, which would be fall 2025, then yes, you can have a TA-ship in fall of 2025. So not at the same time in the same semester. If we receive a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, do we have to pay? Okay, y'all, just ask the question one time. I emailed JSOM Grad Scholarship. Accommodation options. Yes, let's take a look at that. So we have a university housing website. I'm going to drop this here in the chat. Housing.utdallas.edu. This is for on-campus housing as well as off-campus housing. 99.9% of our students live off campus. It's typically cheaper to live off campus and you can split things with roommates. That's also where our group chats come into play. So if you're looking for a roommate, the group chat is probably a great place to start. But this page has all of your housing information. So if you go to housing options, you'll see all of our on-campus options. And then if you go to, there's usually an off-campus, here it is, off-campus housing. This is a third-party service that our housing office will link you to give you more information about your off-campus housing options. Most of our off-campus housing is right around campus. There's some that you can just literally walk across the street to campus and you're here. Most of our other nearby on-campus or nearby housing is on a bus route. So you don't need a car. You can catch the bus to come to campus and catch the bus to go home. So this housing website is what you want to start with. And if you're looking to live off campus, scroll all the way down here to off-campus housing, and that will give you the information that you need to know about that. Okay, do we need to pay enrollment fees first to register for the classes? No, you need to enroll in classes first so that UTD knows what your bill is. So enroll first. Your bill will come later this summer. Nishala, when should we pay the CVIS fee? Is there any deadline? I don't believe that there is a hard and actually, there might be a deadline for the CVIS fee. You should email ISSO Perspective because I don't know what that deadline would be. We could possibly try to find it on here, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. So email ISSO Perspective. It might be on the ISSO website, but I'm going to need to hunt for it. And I have. So we'll come back to that if we need to, but email ISSO Perspective. Okay, Wrong. Do we need to pay the enrollment fees first? No, you enroll in classes first. Can you please share the link for WhatsApp groups? I think Sheila, here, let me just share them again. MSSCM, dropping that here. MS Management Science, dropping that here now. Okay, I just put them in the chat. So if you haven't seen the WhatsApp groups, I just dropped them in the chat. Kalpesh, is it necessary to get an updated I-20, which includes the scholarship amount because you got your scholarship? No, you don't need to request an updated I-20. If you already got it, you're good to go. No need to request an updated one. Vaishnavi, can we apply for multiple scholarships if we get the Dean's Excellence? So the incoming new student scholarships, it's just the Dean's Excellence Scholarship. Once you're a continuing student, then you would be able to submit a scholarship application for your fall 2025 semester. And at that point, then there's all these other donor scholarships that you can apply to, but it's all part of the same scholarship application. So if you've submitted the JSOM scholarship application already, you're good to go. You're being considered for every possible award that you can be considered for as a new incoming student. Same thing applies whenever you're a continuing student, or other like donor awards that continuing students are eligible for. And again, it's just a single scholarship application. So you're already considered for all of them. Where do you buy books? We do have an on-campus bookstore. But as I told Kayla, wait until you go to that first week of class, and then you'll be able to clarify in the course syllabus what actual book you need. Sometimes there's electronic books or electronic resources that you get, and you don't actually need to go anywhere to buy it except just get it online. First semester fees. Okay, let me also drop this link in the chat as well. So we have an academic calendar that has deadlines for future terms. This is the link to the calendar. So that's why, like right now, I was mostly focused on getting you enrolled in your first semester courses because that comes first. Later on in the summer, there will be a deadline to pay your bill. So if you go into this link that I just sent, it's the fall 2024 calendar. Page 1 that you see on my screen here is all the academic deadlines. When classes begin, when you have breaks, when are exams, when are grades due, all that's in this first page. Page 2, this is your payment and refund calendar. So you've enrolled in your classes in April. When do I need to pay for those classes? That's what you see on page 2. Okay, so for most everybody, you're probably going to have a payment deadline of either July 24th or August 15th. The Bursar's office will communicate that to you in an email. So it's going to be late July, early August that you need to worry about paying the bill. So that is not your priority right now. Your priority is getting enrolled into classes and building a schedule that makes sense for you right now. And then later this summer, the bill will come due for the tuition in late July, early August. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Dean scholarships already rolled out. Dean scholarships roll out on a rolling basis. They will roll out between like late last semester or maybe early this semester. They'll go all the way until July 1st. So there are still opportunities to receive a scholarship because they're going to roll those out all the way through July 1st. Let's pop over to the scholarship page real quick. If you haven't bookmarked the scholarship page, you probably should do that. I'm going to drop this here in the chat because you can also come back to this for fall of 2025 to apply for continuing student scholarships once you're already here. But the fall 2024 deadline is May 1st. And if you scroll, new incoming students, here we are. The results for fall scholarships for new incoming students will be announced by mid-July. So they will keep rolling those out all the way through the first part of the summer. Okay, Showbit, I'm seeing some screenshots here. Oh, this was your, oh yes, okay, this is the I-20 document then, the one that you just had a screenshot of. So that is an estimate of tuition, fees, insurance, living expenses, books, transportation, like everything that you need to be a student for a whole year, for one whole year of graduate academic study. So that's whatever amount you're seeing in there, that is what that entails. It's tuition, fees, living expenses, everything. Now, that's an estimate. And I think if you see on the ISSO website, they'll say like, this is your estimated cost. This is what we require you to show proof of funding for. But your actual costs may vary because this estimated expense is for 9 credit hours, but you may enroll in 12 or 13, right? So then that tuition amount might be a little bit higher. Your living expenses may also be different than the amount that you see here, right? They may say, I can't quite make it out. The text is too small, but maybe they say that your tuition, or sorry, your living expenses are $12,000 for a year, but you have roommates and you don't have a car, and you buy your groceries at the grocery store, right? Your living expenses may be more like $7,000 because you've chosen to live a little bit more frugally. So just know that housing part, those are just estimated expenses for that part. Your actual, the way you live might vary, and could very well be less than what that estimate shows in that PDF document to get your I-20. SCM students, do you need a specific version for a laptop? Nope. You get whatever you want. I think we have students in the program with Macs and PCs. PC probably tends to be a little more friendly to the classes that you take, but your call. Yes, May 1st is the scholarship deadline. On-campus jobs. You will receive access to Handshake, which is the UTD jobs posting platform. You'll receive access to that a few days before classes begin. So right around when orientation happens on August 15th, right around that time, that's when you're going to receive access to Handshake. And that is where on-campus offices and on-campus units post their part-time student worker positions. And at that time, you can begin to apply for on-campus student worker jobs. First semester students, international and domestic, are eligible to apply for on-campus jobs starting from that first day of enrollment. Are international students eligible for in-state tuition? If you receive a scholarship or a teaching assistantships, that award does come with in-state tuition, and some scholarships do come with in-state tuition as well. You just have to read the scholarship award letter to see if you get the in-state rate as part of that scholarship award. Are there different types of scholarships given to students? Yes, I kind of just went through that. So this scholarship page that I linked in the chat here, scroll down to the bottom where it says available scholarships. You guys, as new incoming students, you select new incoming student for fall of 2024. You got your deadline. You see this, Dean's Excellence. That's what new incoming students are eligible for. And when you submit the scholarship application, that's what you're going for. Then when you are a continuing student, so let's fast forward a year from now, and you want to apply for a continuing current student scholarship, then you see that there are a few more options here, right? So your scholarship options change based on when you're an incoming new student versus when you're a current student applying for a scholarship for your second year. Do we need the exact amount mentioned for the I-20? I believe the answer is yes, but that's an ISSO's question. ISSO perspective at utdallas.edu, they can confirm what exactly it is that you need to do. But before you email them, make sure that you come over to the ISSO website and click on that apply for I-20 and read that page first, because I think they did a really good job of reworking this page recently to be very clear about like what the steps are in the I-20 process. So check this page first, the I-20 page from ISSO, and then if you still have questions, email that ISSO perspective at utdallas.edu. Okay, year-long internships. If you have a full-time internship, more than 21 hours per week for more than 12 weeks of the semester, you're eligible for a reduced course load. And that's how students are able to do year-long internships, where they intern in the summer, and then they do a reduced course load in fall in order to do that full-time internship in fall. And then in spring, they do a reduced course load due to their graduating semester. That allows them to intern in the spring as well. So it is possible to do summer, fall, spring, in a full-time internship and basically get almost a year of full-time experience in the program. I'll go over that in more detail when it gets closer to the time that you can do the internship, but just know that yes, you are totally welcome and encouraged to apply for summer, fall, spring internships. And yes, it's possible to like take your classes online when you do that, as long as the internship meets certain criteria. New incoming students scholarships, you would just follow the directions that are available on the page. I think, yes, the JSOM scholarship application process for new incoming students includes one step. Yeah, the current continuing students, they have an extra step that they have to do. So yeah, you're right. You just do the one step for a new incoming students. If I get a good academic score for year one, does my Dean's Excellence Scholarship get continued for the third semester? You need to reapply. So any scholarship that's awarded to you in your first semester, you will need to check that letter and read that letter carefully to know which terms it applies to. If it's fall 24 and spring 25, then that is it. And you'll need to reapply for scholarships for fall of 2025 in your second year. Does JSOM have a semester-wise scholarships, for example, if the student scores more than? Continuing student scholarships are evaluated on a student's first year academic performance. So just like how you were awarded a new student scholarship based on all of the great things you did before you got to UTD, once you're a current student applying for those current student scholarships in your second year, then those awards are based on your performance as a first year JSOM student. So yes, academics are very important. There's no minimum cutoff necessarily, but yes, good grades are absolutely very important for those continuing student scholarships in year two. Kalpesh, if you had done a calculus course or a statistics course as an undergraduate student, then you can email our advising team, jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu, with those courses syllabus, and they can reevaluate your placement into 6303. I don't necessarily recommend people try to get waived out of 6303 if they were placed into it, because it's there to help you and help you be successful, in the program. But if you know that you took an undergraduate calculus course or an undergraduate statistics course, send that course description and course syllabus over to our advising team and ask them to reconsider your placement into 6303. Okay, Niraj, difference between in-state tuition fees and international students. So UT Dallas is a public institution, which means that residents of the state of Texas pay the in-state tuition rate, and any student who's not from Texas, from one of the other 49 states in the US, or is an international student, pays the out-of-state tuition rate, and that's a more expensive rate. UT Dallas is funded by the state of Texas. We receive taxpayer money from Texans, so that's why it's cheaper for Texas residents. It's a service to the state of Texas. If you're not from the state of Texas, you pay the higher rate to make up for that difference. So in your tuition estimator, in Galaxy or in Orion, there should be an option to select resident rate of tuition or non-resident rate of tuition. And if you're an international student on an F1 visa, you're a non-resident for the purposes of tuition. Unless you received a scholarship, and in that scholarship award letter, it says you also get the in-state rate as part of this scholarship. Then for the terms that you have that scholarship, you can use the resident rate of tuition, which is the in-state rate of tuition for the terms that you have the scholarship. Okay, we've come to a nice pause here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for anybody who's watched the recording. Hopefully you got all of the information that you needed. So thank you for watching the recording, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. So thank you.